there's just a lot of different aspects that I've taken from all different parts of my jobs and kind of combined them all into making it something that's my own and something that I get to choose what I get to do and how I want to do it and when I want to do it, which is absolutely terrifying.
Welcome to Shaping the Basin. I'm here with Sarah from Sarabella Lash Studios. Did I get the
Hello.
name right?
Yes,
All
you
right.
did.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to
Uh,
be here.
why don't you just start telling us a little bit about you?
Okay, so I moved back to the basin now about 6 years ago and started the whole new journey of cosmetology. Went back to cosmetology school and um, opened up this studio. So the studio has other cosmetologists within it, and we do full service hair, nails, teeth whitening, lashes, and then on top of the beauty portion, there's also a plant portion. So I sell indoor plants there. Um, and so it's like a one-stop beauty and plant shop.
Mhm. From a business perspective, how did that happen? Did you think I'm going to have plants and lashes?
No, not at all. Actually, started the Lash venture and I have always had a ton of indoor plants. In my first space, I had so many plants, people would walk in and be like, "Whoa, are these for sale? What are all these plants doing here?" I'm like, "No, they're just mine." And people kept asking me, like, can I buy this plant? Can I buy this plant? Finally, one day, someone's like, "I'll give you $20 for this plant." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, absolutely." And after that, I was like, you know what? I should just put out a little shelf and see like maybe plants that I have a few extra and see how fast they sell if people want to buy the plants. And within a week, they were all gone. So I was like, well, I guess I'm selling plants now, you know? So I started propagating more and it just kind of grew and built into kind of what it is now. And then people started asking me to go to markets. And so now I go out into the community and I also sell plants outside of the studio. So I attend the third Thursdays and holiday bazaars and some other benefits. I did the benefit of the basin last year and just other avenues of community events that we have and selling plants, which has been a lot of fun too. So
Mhm.
it's been a whole different kind of venture outside of the cosmetology world that I never thought I would kind of embark in, but I truly enjoy it. So it's really fun. I get to like have a few different things that I have a passion for and I love, and I got to turn it into what it is right now, or trying to. So, yeah.
I think you have an extensive business background, but cosmetology is kind of new to you, right?
Yes. Yeah. I have had a few different careers now, and I've loved all of them. I got to do a lot of fun, different things. I started when I went to Oregon State University after I graduated high school. And in there, I started doing, I worked at a farm actually, and I started doing their events there, like farm to school tours and the pumpkin patch rides and corn mazes, that kind of stuff, and really like doing events. And then when I graduated college, I actually ended up going into the event world, and I was an event director for a couple different resorts and golf clubs, and that also kind of pairs with restaurant manager, food and beverage area. And that kind of took me around Oregon. I did that in Medford and then Corvallis, and then the last one was in Sisters at a resort. And that led into a whole nother career of food and beverage where I ended up working for a distillery in Bend, and I sold liquor for this distillery. And I traveled to a few different states, all Pacific Northwest. I went to as far as Chicago selling their liquor for them. So that was a really fun job. Um, it ended up being, I was traveling a lot, like maybe 3 weeks out of the month towards the end. And I was ready for a big career change, just depending on a lot of the stuff that was going on. And so I started all over. I was like, I'm going to go back to cosmetology school and get my get my paper and lashes. It was the liquor company actually that this my career that got me into lashes because I had to drink quite a bit for this job and test the products, and so I went to all different kinds of bars and restaurants, and I'd have to ride around with the reps, and the reps just they love to drink, so you had to kind of keep up with them. And I was in a bar in Boise or somewhere in Idaho, and I went up and to the bartender and she was like, I have never seen anyone keep up with these guys like this. And I was like, I know, but how's my lashes? Is my mascara running everywhere? My eyeliner? And she was the one, she's like, you need extensions. And I was like, what are those? And this was now at least 10 years ago. So I went back to Ben's and I Googled the best lash artist in Central Oregon. And then I found Penny Lash, who has become my friend, my mentor, my trainer. And I started getting lash extensions. And from that point on, I was like, I could wake up ready to go. Like this is magic. It's pure magic. Once everyone sees this, they're gonna want this. And with talking with her when I was talking about leaving my distillery job, she was like, "I will train you in lashes. Like this is like you can do this." Like I had more of a business mindset more than the cosmetology aspect. So originally I was like going more for the business. Then it turns out I just really liked lashing, so I ended up working really hard to become good at it because it's not easy, and that just kind of spun into the career where it is now. And then obviously Klamath Falls is a great place to go to the cosmetology school. And at the time, there weren't a whole lot of people doing lash extensions. So I knew that it was a need in
Mhm.
Klamath Falls. Um, so yeah, that was like the start of many changes of careers. But I would have to say that because I have had a lot of different kind of avenues of careers and different things that I've learned throughout the different jobs that I've had, this now state that I'm in is an accumulation of all of the things that I've kind of done throughout my life. So I do the events like going to the third Thursday didn't even cross my mind of how that of how to even set it up, and because I've done a million of them. um, you know, there's just a lot of different aspects that I've taken from all different parts of my jobs and kind of combined them all into making it something that's my own and something that I get to choose what I get to do, and how I want to do it and when I want to do it, which is absolutely terrifying. And for any small business owners, as you know, it's really hard to just depend on yourself for your income, but it's not even depending on yourself. That's why this is exciting to be on, because Shaping the Basin, I really believe it's the community that is the one that is my biggest supporters. Like I depend on this community to buy my goods, buy my services, and that's what pays my bills as just like any other small business owner. So it's really important to have a really good, strong stance in the community and do good for the community, and they do good to you.
Yeah. Uh, Gosh, there's like 3 different things I wanna ask you for, so hopefully I remember all of them here shortly. But one thing that comes to mind is people come in and I think of restaurants, right? People come in and say, "Oh, I'm a really good cook, so I wanna open my own restaurant." And then I have the conversation with them, like, what it takes to run a restaurant well and be successful, it probably has actually very little to do with how well you cook because you have to have a whole different skill set.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
you probably have that with the lashes, right? What is it like to run a lash studio beyond just the lashes? What's it like to create that?
It's I mean, it's tough. It is. I'm sure every small business owner would say the same things I'm about to say, because you become your own CEO, you become your janitor. I'm the head custodian, I am the head plumber, I am the head mechanic, I'm the head everything. Marketing manager, all of the above. So being able to do a combination of all of those things, if you haven't had a background or knowing how to do that, can be really difficult. And some people just do really have a knack for it. I see quite a few people, especially going to these markets, amazing women and men that will just be like, I could do this, and then they know how to do every single aspect of it. It is important to have the trade too. So like the chefs that do know how to cook very well, that's obviously the one of the bigger things in a restaurant. But you also have to be able to do the P&Ls and the all the backgrounds of what actually takes to like run the business. So it's hard to have a combination of everything. But for running the studio, I do find, I wouldn't say it's I would say that's a tough one. I don't want to say easy, but it's familiar to me because I've taken on this role for all the other companies that I have worked for. So I'm doing the same things that I had previously done, and I mean times another 10, but for somebody else, and now I get to do it for myself, which is a huge difference. So I think because I've seen that before, I can see. Um, how difficult could be for someone that doesn't have that experience. And So I see that a lot here in Klamath too with people that have the cook, they have the chef's experience and they're like, I'm going to go open up the food trucks and then it doesn't quite make it because they don't have that little aspects of little things. But I think that's also where it depends on reaching out for help and seeking the advice and knowing that you don't know everything. And if you can admit that you don't know everything and you seek the help of the areas that you are lacking, then you have a better shot at being successful. I have done the accounting and I've done all the paperwork for previous like businesses that I've worked for. However, it's not my strong suit. So, knowing that that's not my strong suit, I do reach out and I have somebody that helps me do all of that. And so I'm good at delegating for the things that I'm not the best at, and I think that's really key in having something successful.
Yeah. What's been the most challenging part of having your own business?
Um, really, there's no rule book. There's no one telling you what's going to work, how it's going to work, what to do. Everything does rely on you, and that's a huge responsibility. I think that's the hardest part is knowing if you're making the right decisions, especially when it's not just yourself. Like there are other people that are in the studio. So if I make a decision that's run poorly, it doesn't just affect me, it affects everybody else. So that kind of pressure of not knowing what the best situation is, a lot of trial and error and being able to not see things as a failure, but see things as something you're learning from. That's one thing that I've really had to change my mindset. We're like, that didn't work. Instead of being like, oh my God, I'd be like, okay, well, actually, to make it work next time, it has to be XYZ, you know? So the hardest part is that since there is no rule book, you have to have a really strong mindset. You have to be resilient. You have to constantly wake up and change your mindset to being like, I'm going to do this today. And if something doesn't work out, I'm still going to keep going. It's not going to stop me. I'm going to have to be able to pick myself up, pick my mentality up off the ground and just get stuff done anyway. So having that mentality without the rule book is really hard.
Yeah, I can see that. Uh, do you have employees?
They're independent contractors. So everybody is responsible for their own scheduling, their own pay, their own everything. So independent contractors are different than employees. I can't tell them when they can and can't be there. They get to decide that. They get to decide their pricings, and that kind of thing too. So they're just where I host them. I'm hosting them.
Okay. What is that experience like?
It's been interesting. I've done both since I've had this. I've had people that I've like had to pay, and then I've had people that are the independent contractors. Um, I feel like it's more empowering for me to have independent contractors because they are empowering themselves. I can help guide them, I can help mentor, but because I can't tell them what to do, it's more empowering them that they're doing good, they're doing the right things um and because I do have there is such a good team in the studio, it's a little different because it's more we've become like a family. We are very close. And it's a lot easier when that when you have that relationship. So
Yeah.
it's been great so far.
Did you uh did you find it hard to get the community to realize what your business was and that you were there?
No, actually, I will have to say, but because I have had marketing, I've had to do the different chambers of commerce all around Oregon. That I knew that I came in to Klamath knowing that I needed to automatically jump on with the Chamber of Commerce to meet the people and put the name out there and do the marketing and present in a certain way. So I actually really I didn't find it very hard. And I also had it really good when I came in because there weren't a lot of lash extension people. There was maybe a handful. So me moving into town and kind of just being like, I'm going to do lashes. I'm going to open up the first lash studio. And everyone's like, who are you? What's going on? And then I still just stayed consistently and people have just kind of rallied behind me, which has been really great. So it
That's
hasn't been too difficult. I would also say that it was during 2020, the COVID years, and COVID years they were really hard, obviously for so many people. For my business, when we got shut down, and then we were able to open back up. everybody had a lot of money from the government, a lot of aid. And I saw my business flourish because of it, because people were still locked up. I was the only person really that people can see. So I had women coming in there like, thank goodness I need to have an adult conversation and I have this money to like to spend on myself and I can't go anywhere else. And so I was booked up instantly after I was able to open up from COVID. People were seeking out services because it was really the only thing that people can do. So I would say that that really did launch me off
Mhm.
instantly, like 7 days a week and just going.
Yeah.
So
On the that that makes me think like, how do you recession proof a business like yours? Do you think about that? Like if
all the time.
people start, so what do
Yeah,
you think
all the
about
time.
that?
That's also why I do different avenues. So I also do teach lash extensions as well. So I have to because of there's always the fear that I don't have a backup plan. I am my backup plan. So if my hand breaks and I can't do lashes, how am I going to pay my rent? I don't have sick pay, just like every small business owners. We don't have PTO. We don't have sick pay. If something happens to us, we just don't get paid, and there's no aid. So I always feel that I have to have different avenues of income coming in. So the plants was a really great um, a- incoming for that. I started training prior to selling plants, so doing lash classes and that kind of thing. I started selling retail for lash artists in the studio too. So I'm constantly thinking of different things to have different avenues of income in order to survive when people aren't going to be able to pay for certain things. Like if a client can no longer keep their lashes on, which has happened obviously throughout the years, I still have a good relationship with those clients. They still will come in, they buy plants, they see me at the markets, they stop and grab things from me. They still support me in ways that they wouldn't have been able to for lashes. So for me, it's making sure that there's different avenues of income.
Yeah. What was it like coming back to Klamath Falls?
It's been an adjustment for sure. I'm definitely starting to even out. Um, Klamath is such a unique little town. From all the places I've lived, I do love the community. I think the most is it's very rare for you to move to a town and move to houses and all of a sudden you could be friends with your neighbor. Like and when I first moved here, people were like, "Oh, where do you live?" And I'm like, "That's weird. You even want to know where I live?" And like, "Who's your neighbor?" I'm like, "You know your neighbor? Like, you talk to your neighbor?" They're like, "Yeah, you do." And then all of a sudden, I'm like, "I'm good friends with my neighbor now." So, and that's really a kind of a rare situation. It's because they are very friendly here. It is more family oriented community, which is very different than any other town I've lived in. The amenities around here too, there's not as many. That's why I do feel um, really pushing small businesses and supporting them because we need more things in Klamath Falls. And the only way we're going to get more businesses and more things for us to do is to support the ones that are already here. And then more people will start their own businesses. People don't start businesses if they see businesses going out of all of the time. So I think it's one of those balances. So those kind of aspects have been pretty interesting. And I've also noticed, that I've made some really strong bonds in Klamath Falls because everybody is so friendly. Not everybody, there unfortunately the other side to it is if you weren't like born, raised, and haven't left here, there are like groups of people that get together and you don't quite fit in, or they don't want to, they don't quite trust you, until you kind of have to hang around for a while. But once you kind of break that, I have made some like very good, like chosen family here for sure. So it's been a fun, fun experience coming back.
Yeah.
It's easy to get lost. Don't know which path to take, what to post. In the social media jungle, video is king. Your kids are obsessed, your customers are addicted, we're all hooked, and social media sites prioritize videos. So when you're ready to stand out from the crowd, reach out to 40 Deuce Films. Feeling over everything.
When I was having a conversation earlier today actually with somebody about supporting local, and I think we think in terms of always going and buying something or purchasing something. But I'm curious, what are some of the ways you think? Is that the only way you think of supporting businesses?
No, not at all. I mean, sharing even a post is so huge. Liking a post, social media is huge because the word of mouth is the number one marketing. And in Klamath Falls, I've seen that. I have seen that so fast because most of my clients are word of mouth. So when people talk to each other in this town, and people talk to each other outside of just friendships. Like I'll walk into a store and then I walk out with 10 full stories of people's this. I know about this, because people are just willing to share so much information here. That word of mouth can really make or break a business for sure. I've seen people lose a business because of word of mouth, but I've also seen people really escalate from word of mouth. So it's it's been interesting with that aspect.
Yeah. Yeah. You came and you were one of my spotlight interviews at the women's event. And then you came back and actually were one of our speakers. But I loved your messaging about empowering women, empowering people, and being cheerleaders. Can you share some of that philosophy with us?
Yes, that's my job all day because I work with women. I work on women all day long, and I feel like I have become a therapist, just like my clients have become therapists for me. But I always say that I feel like I cosmetologists can change the whole world because we see women all day long. We have the power to uplift them. We have the power to support them, empower them. Like it's like that the concept of when you go camping, you want to leave things better than when you found it. I feel that is the same in relationships too. So when a woman comes and lays down in the chair, I want her to leave feeling better than when she came and laid down to begin with. Not just because the lashes make her feel beautiful, self confident, but also that I'm also encouraging her, I'm empowering her. And I feel like that really does something. And if I can do that to say I see 10 women a day and they leave feeling better and empowering, they're going to go out and they're going to empower other people. They're going to feel better about their relationships. They'll do the same thing to another 10 women or whatever, and then so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, you could have a whole ricochet of just like positive, powering people supporting each other and leading by example. So I think it's really important to do that, and not just relationships, but also when it comes to other businesses, because I do know how hard it is to rely on someone paying me for my goods and services in order to pay my bills. So because I know how hard that is, and I like to support, push anyone that's trying to go on that venture, knowing that it's like, this is going to be really hard. But if you keep your head down, like you can do it. I'll help you, empower you. I'll share your stuff. I'll support you. I'll buy tinsel for my hair, all the things. So I think it's in a world full of so much awful things that we hear all the time. We can't let that be our mentality and expect to be successful in our private or professional life. So I just try to spread as much positivity as I can, because also I really believe that karma is real. Things come back to you three times three, whether it's good or it's bad.
Mhm.
And so I want a lot of good coming back. So I will just keep giving out good in hopes that it comes back to me.
I like that. Can you think of a story that highlights that? Is there a time you did something and you feel like it came back directly?
Um, I think on a regular basis, honestly, I am very, very spoiled in my studio because of the relationships that I've built. Um, on a regular basis, I will support someone, love someone, build them up. And then the next day, out of nowhere, they just stop in and be like, I just stopped in to bring you a coffee. Of course, it's the exact moment that I needed a coffee. I'm like, how did you know I needed a coffee to get through this day? Or one of my good clients that has become a really good friend, like I will be like casually, oh, I just love movie theater popcorn, haven't been able to see a movie in so long, whatever. The next she leaves, comes back with a whole thing of movie theater popcorn. It's it happens all the time. And the problem, I think, when people don't realize how much they're getting, is because we don't stop and appreciate the little things. The little things are actually big things, and that's the things that we need to focus on a regular basis, I think. Because if I took that for granted, I didn't realize like how grateful that is, I wouldn't see that coming back to me times three. But it's the same good that I am giving out, people return to me.
Do you naturally see that all the time, or do you have to remind yourself to look for it sometimes?
Every day I remind myself to look for it. I practice every day trying to change my mindset, because we have to. We're human beings. I think as humans, we're drawn to the negatives, the sadness. Like we get carried for hours on one little thing that could happen, and our whole day is ruined. And I can't live that life, or else I would be miserable, and everybody around me would be miserable. And my hands have a lot of power because I'm touching people all day long. I'm lashing people all day long. I'm talking to people all day long. And if I'm having a bad day and I'm projecting that out, then that woman or man is going to get up and they're going to go out and do that too. So yeah, on a regular basis, I have to flip my mindset to being like, no, I have everything that I need. I'm doing everything that I have in this moment. Like in this moment, like even right now, I'm like, I am so grateful to even be here and just like talking, that you even have an interest of anything that I'm saying. It's a huge thing to be grateful for what you have. And I think the more grateful for the things that you have, the more more comes to you, because you start noticing it more.
Yes. What you pay attention to. And
Absolutely.
that's my mindset for sure. I have a question about something you just said. Do you do lashes on any men?
I have done lashes on men.
Okay.
Yes. There are a few men that do extensions. I do a lot more lifts and tints on men, because they already have really long lashes. They don't mess with their lashes from a young age like we do. We're mascara, eyelash curler, just going crazy on them, ripping them out. Men don't typically do a lot with their lashes. So most of them do come in with longer lashes. So I do a little curl and stain them black, and then that's usually sufficient.
Okay. I would
Mhm.
not have guessed that. That just stuck out to me for some
Yes,
reason.
and I do I wax men's brows too, so I have men that come in there for brow waxes, and
That doesn't surprise me as
yeah,
much,
and I
but
think it's great. I think everybody needs to take care of themselves, and self-care is should be a number one priority. Your How you feel and how you act can, for a lot of people, is based upon how they look. And if that's how that is, then that's great.
yeah.
And I always say, especially to all my clients, where if they're like, I have to remove them, I'm going to be so, and I'm like, no, 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 no. You're beautiful without all of this. This is just adding a little frosting. It's just adding the conveniences where you don't have to put on makeup every day, but you're beautiful without it. You don't need it. But if I can help you add a little flair or a little sparkle, then absolutely. And they do. They get up and walk out a little sparkle. It's just the littlest things can really change somebody's attitude.
That's that's pretty cool. I just wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's fun.
magic. That's why when I had them done the first time, I stared at myself for probably an hour in the mirror, being like, "Who is that?" I'm a literal poster child for extensions. Like, without, if I need a fill or if I don't have extensions on, people are like, "Are you okay? Are you sick? Like, do you have the COVID?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just due for a fill." But yeah, thanks though.
I'm thinking about the reels where they're joking about lash blindness when the lashes have gotten ridiculous. I'm just curious if you've ever told someone you have enough. Stop now.
No, I haven't, because I practice natural lash health. So, in order for someone's natural lashes to stay healthy, you can't go longer than that natural lash can hold, or thicker or longer. So, all of my clients, they aren't able to hold anything that's too crazy, because most natural lashes aren't super long or super thick. So no, I've never had
You
to
haven't.
I've never had to do that before.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, those reels sometimes are a little
They
ridiculous.
do. They get a little crazy, and I look at them and I'm like, "Ooh, like, I know that her natural lashes can't hold that, so that's not going to be, good long term for
Right.
that client." But yeah, no, we don't quite do that in the studio, so.
But I'm curious, when you going back to your question about independent contractors and employees, you have a specific set of values and kind of a culture you've created in your place. Has that been difficult at all to find the right people to come in and have the same beliefs that you have?
Yeah,
How do you do that?
absolutely. I've had it's the trial and error. You can have somebody come in and talk to them and trust them. And you don't really quite know until later down the road if that person is going to steal from you, which has happened, is going to be respectful, or, like if it's almost like dating somebody. Like when you're dating somebody in the first 3 months, you don't really truly know that person. Like it's all the kind of the front. I always say it's usually about a 3 month mark when people start showing like their actual true colors or their actual true actions, what their morals, their beliefs are. So it's just kind of that waiting game to see if that works out. And especially when I first moved into town, I didn't know anybody, so I just had to take everyone's face value and kind of figured it out later. And that didn't work in the beginning. I have I have had a whole separate group of people that have come and gone from just everything I had just said. So it just takes a while. It's just like any other. I've managed other companies that have, and I've had plenty of employees underneath me, and it's the same situation, and plenty of managers underneath me, that it's one of those things that you don't quite really know someone's true, I guess, yeah, morals, ethics, and work ethic, and until a little bit later in the road. That's why there's probation periods,
Yeah.
because it takes a minute.
Do you do probation periods with independent contractors?
No, there is the open clause, that if it doesn't work out, we can, terminate this contract at any time, and you can leave, and or if you or whichever happens. But I the group that's in there now, I just know that I never have to worry about. They have become, it's different. You just know. When you know too. I guess that's like relationships. Well, I haven't had that yet, but people tell me that, like, oh, when you know, and I'm like, okay, well, I know what I know in here, so that must be true, personally too. So professionally, I feel like it's when you know. And I feel like with managers, I've had managers in the past with different departments that in the beginning, you're like, I'm not sure. And then they end up working out. But then there's other people that they walk in and you're like, I know this person's going to work out. So it's a lot of different people connection of trying to figure out, and people reading, which is really hard to do.
Mhm.
Because you can't just take people at face value anymore, or
Right.
based upon what they say.
Do you feel like you're a good people reader?
I think I am now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Did you have to hone that skill?
Yes, because I did sales for so long too. So the liquor company, in the sales world, because I sold liquor, you do have to read the people. You have to read their body language, if they're going to be interested or not, or if I'm annoying them, or if I'm putting too pushy, or if they're even interested in anything that I'm saying. So you have to kind of have that sales world, and I feel like I did kind of hone that in because I was there for so long. So yeah, I feel like you just kind of have to navigate your way through that, having a lot of conversations is really what it is. Yeah.
And you said you've been back about 6 years.
Hmm.
Now you came back during the COVID
Yes, right before
years.
COVID. Yeah, which I was like, I'm so glad that I moved to Klamath Falls right before COVID, because we really had it good here during
Oh
those.
yeah.
I don't want to say that, but in terms of not having the crazy stuff happen that was happening in other cities, we didn't get to see a whole lot that here, which was really great.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that when I talk to people that were like in a big city, their
right,
experience during COVID was vastly. I mean, it wasn't easy for us either, but it
right.
certainly wasn't.
We
I
didn't have
didn't
the
leave my
terror
apartment.
aspect.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. We had a different kind of scare, not a scare of someone's going to come in and, take all your things and break all your stuff and that kind of stuff. So that luckily we didn't have that.
Yeah. I talk to a lot of people that are new to Klamath, right? They've come in and they're either opening a business or maybe they're a medical provider. Have you found it at all hard to become part of this community?
Um, That's an interesting question, because I feel like it's a yes and a no. I would say yes. I still feel like I don't fully fit in, because I still feel like I don't, because people do, when you're a part of a community for so long, and you have your circles and you have your groups, and it's hard to break into those circles. And then also because I do have had such a wide variety of things that I've done. um I do feel a lot of resistance with people in general, just about me, and because I'm a question mark. People are like, I don't know where you've been and where you came from. What do you want? So it's one of those things. So I feel like it's both. But like I said, I think overall, I would say the bonds that I have made here are more significant than the opposite of that. So I would say that for the most part, yes, like I have created some relationships that are going to be lifelong, forever. So that's I would say yes and no.
Yeah. Do you have, like, if somebody was watching this and they were new here, do you have tips for them?
Yeah, get involved. Like you have to go to the markets, you have to go to like the events that are around, meet the people, which is really the hard part about being new in a place is you do kind of have to put yourself out there because there's like that reel where it's like, how is this person gonna how is the right man ever gonna find me? Oh, he's gonna break down my door and find me in my living room. That's the same kind of situation as like trying to fit in the community. Like if you don't put yourself out there, you're not gonna be able to make friends. If you don't put yourself in the right situation or at the right group or at the right table, then you are just gonna end up sitting in your house and not being able to interact. I would say definitely there's so many different events that are being held um around Klamath to go to those events and join the groups and do the things. You
Yeah,
just have to put yourself out there.
I love that. Well, surprisingly, we're like at the end of our time. You just shared so much information
Oh,
with
yeah.
us. Crazy. Uh, no, I love that. That just seems like a really great place to end because I think those are good tips, and you've done a really good job coming in and getting involved in the community and giving back. So thank you for that. But I do have three
Absolutely.
questions I kind of ask everybody
Okay.
at the end.
Yeah.
If I gave you a check for $250,000 to do something by the end of the day to make a difference in our community, what would you do?
I would I would donate it to all the ones that need it for sure. We need some help with our animal control. I'm a huge advocate for animals and plants, obviously, because I'm that person. So yeah, I would try to I would give it back. I would to the nonprofits. There's so many different nonprofits here that are struggling. They didn't get the funding that they normally have in the past. So a lot of those organizations, they're desperate for money. I have a lot of clients that work for those organizations. So I'd be having all that conversations in a real quick way. If it's by the end of the day, off the top of my mind, I already know quite a bit of nonprofits that are hurting and looking for money. So I'd dive it into the nonprofits and then to the shelters and the Relief Angels is a really big one of the only other animal advocates here. So I'd give them a big chunk of money and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah. So it'd be all nonprofits and the people that do the work to take care of the other people and animals here. I do feel like Klamath is kind of split into two kind of worlds. There's the people that, that need help, that they need the medical care, they need the, DHS, they need all these different organizations. And then the other half of Klamath are those people. It's the people that do have the nonprofits that work in the organizations that are the medical care that take care of all the other people. And they need a lot of help. They need a lot more funding. So I would be putting it over there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have a role model?
I have quite a few different role models. More recently in my Lash world, there's my mentors that I've worked with, Penny Lash and Paris Lash Academy. They're strong women that have started their businesses from ground up. So they're some people that I just really look up to.
That's awesome. If you were planning your perfect Klamath day, what would it look like?
Ooh, it depends on if it's this weather or sunny. I will pretend it's sunny outside because that's my favorite. Ideal day. I really have been enjoying paddleboarding. Just got a new puppy too, so I'd love to see what he looks like on this paddleboard. So going up to like Spring Creek and doing a little paddleboarding, coming back and having a drink somewhere would be a nice local one of the local pubs maybe. Hmm.
Nice. What kind of dog?
A toy Aussie and a Cocker Spaniel mix. Yeah,
Okay.
he's the cutest
You're gonna
thing.
have to post a picture.
I will.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your
Yes,
time
thank you for
today.
having me.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And
I
thank
appreciate
you
you.
to our producer, 40 Deuce Films.